Welcome to Rebable AI, your daily AI briefing. It's the 18th of July, and we've got 30 stories for you today. Let's dive in. Part 1. Full case. First up, today Moonshot AI has launched Kimi K3, a 2.8 trillion parameter open source MOE model. It supports a 1 million context window and native multimodally, featuring Kimi Delta, Attention and Attention Rai Kojal. A3 achieved first place in the arena.ai coding arena with 1679 points, beating Fable 5, and ranked 4th on the Artificial Analysis Index. API pricing is set at $3 for input and $15 for output per million tokens. This signals Chinese open source models are nearing US closed source flagships. Next, in robotics, Alaba Stamo Academy has introduced Rhine World 4D, the first 4D embodied world model that synchronously generates RGB, depth, and optical flow. Trained on 254 million frames of 4D data, it uses a 3-branch DET architecture. The model extracts geometry and motion trends directly from middle-layer features for high-frequency, closed-loop control in physical tests. Its dual-arm, dexterous manipulation success rate significantly outperformed traditional 2D strategies, bridging the gap between 2D pixel prediction and 3D physical representations. Moving on, Thinking Machines, founded by Mira Moratti, has released Inkling, a 975 billion parameter open source multimodal MOE model. Inkling supports a 1 million context window and natively handles text, images, and audio. Its narrated feature is a controllable thinking mechanism, which lets enterprises adjust reasoning token penalties to control costs. The model aims to solve high deployment costs and hallucinations by compressing the thinking process and focusing on practical tasks like tool calling. In other news, OpenAI has disclosed GPT-RED, an automated red teaming model, trained via self-reinforcement, learning to find prompt injections and security flaws in tests. GPT-RED achieved an 84% attack success rate against GPT 5.1, compared to just 13% for human red teams. A 10th pi ET GPT 5.1, compared to just 30% for human red teams. It also discovered fake chain of thought injection attacks. OpenAI used these attack samples to train GPT 5.6, reducing its vulnerability rate to 0.05% and boosting agent safety. And to wrap up this section, at the World AI Conference in Shanghai, China advocated for an open and win-win AI order. Chinese representatives reaffirmed support for open source AI, opposed creating new historical injustice, and warned against using national security concepts to restrict AI development. The stance reflects China's efforts to break technology monopolies through open source eCada's efforts to break technology monopolies through open source ecosystems in unjust cost the global south. Part 2. Trends. Turning now to industry trends. Google has delayed the release of Gemini 3.5 Pro, codenamed Cappuccino, by several months. The delay comes after the model failed to meet internal standards for core capabilities like coding. Despite massive investments in compute and data centers, Google is facing internal bureaucracy, team friction, and trust issues regarding aggregated generated. Google is facing Google in a patio generated code, editors as fast E3's Google in a popbox. Meanwhile, Google is updating apps. The company has renamed Notebook LM to Gemini Notebook, adding a cloud computer feature that lets Works users write and run code. Additionally, Google Search's AI mode now supports direct integration with third-party apps like Instacart, Canva, and YouTube Music. Finally, on the regulatory front, German media regulator ZIG has classified Google AI overviews and Perplexity as content providers. This means they are not protected by Digital Services Act liability exemptions and are responsible for false content. SIG-8 also accused Google. Starting with new research, the Shanghai AI Laboratory has released Internalis 2 Preview 397B at Wake 2026. This model uses a non-transformer architecture called Mobius. It features a dual-engine design that separates knowledge and reasoning, using pluggable external memory to separates knowledge and disrupting general camaraderies. The model performs exceptionally well on tasks like molecular design and material structure generation, boosting end-to-end inference efficiency by nearly 4 times. Next, in electric vehicles, Li Auto has launched its new L6, starting at 249,800 RMB. Returning to a single version strategy, the vehicle inherits flagship features from the L9, including a 51 kWh battery with a 300 km electric range and 12-minute fast charging. It is powered by Li Auto's self-developed Mosh M100 smart driving chip, delivering 1,280 TOPS of computing power, alongside a 29-inch 6K ultra-wide screen. Moving on to tech disputes, Apple has sent legal warnings to about 40 former employees who recently joined OpenAI. The letters instruct them to preserve all communications and prepare for investigations. This action follows Apple's lawsuit against OpenAI for allegedly stealing hardware and chip design trade secrets. The move highlights the intensifying battle between Silicon AI giants over Topple is taileds. In other developments, SenseTime has unveiled its compute power electricity synergy agent at Wake. The system is the first to pass scientific testing by predicting electricity prices and sensing testing odds. It intelligently schedules computing power and energy storage. SenseTime proposed using tokens per watt in energy storage. SenseTime proposed using tokens power and energy storage as SenseTime proposed using tokens per watt instead of traditional PUU. At its Lingang facility, the system increased token output per unit of electricity cost by 80% and cut carbon emissions by 24,000 tons annually. Also, in Robotics Force Spa partnered with Stepon at Woke to showcase 6 robots assembling an 80,000-part Great Wall model over a continuous 15-hour period. This sub-millimeter precision task was powered by the DEEM 0.5 Foundation model and the DW 0.5 World model, using post-training reinforcement learning in a closed loop. The robots learned human-like microforce control and autonomous error correction to complete the complex build. Finally, for this section, Roblox has released a mobile version of its AI-assisted creation tool. Builder users can generate a complete 3D game, including chaotic mechanics, environments, and audio, simply by typing a description to prevent the platform from being flooded with low-quality AI-generated games. Roblox plans to use a player reads creation album the platform generated gate creation. Roblox plans to use a cryptography. Part 3. Tools. First up in tools, an open-source local code analysis tool called Code Review Graph has gained nearly 20,000 stars on GitHub. The tool uses TreeSitter to parse code into abstract syntax trees, building a local extralite graph of functions, classes, and test dependencies. It supports the model contrite graph of functions, classes, and test dependencies. It supports the model contrastes. In tests on large projects like Fast API, it achieved up to a 528 times compression of context tokens, allowing AI to review only the affected files. Finally, LM Studio has introduced Bionic. This local AI agent is open-date for open-source models like Kimi, K2.6 and GRM 5.2, supporting local document processing, code writing, and table generation. Additionally, it integrates mistressing, AI's Voxtrail model to deliver low-latency, privacy-preserving real-time voice transcription. Turning now to new tools. Developers have open-sourced PenEcho, a real-time AI interactive canvas. Users can write physical formulas or draw sketches directly on a handwriting tablet. PenEcho automatically slices local images and sends them to large models like Claude. It then generates editable derivations or correction suggestions in real time next to the handwritings, creating note. Finally, for our tools section, to address hallucinations and overconfidence in AI-generated code, the open-source project, Chiron, has introduced a verification system based on minimum description length. Chiron strictly validates Gemini rules on unseen test sets. If an output cannot be 100% confirmed, the system triggers a refusal response to Garum. Part 4. Learning. First up in learning resources. Anthropic has open-sourced all educational materials from its official code with Claude Workshop. The content covers how to use Claude for model evaluation, tuning, multi-agent system decomposition, and React component rating verification. Next, for visual learners, Professor Tom Ye has released an illustrated guide titled Transformer by Hand. He simplifies complex architectures into core, attention weights, and feed-forward networks. By calculating the forward propagation of 5 input features in a single-layer network, the guide visually demonstrates how attention mechanisms mix features in the spatial to make work. Finally, in academic research, a new paper reveals that adding length penalties during reinforcement learning reduces token costs but selectively hides a model's true reasoning. Experiments show that compressed chain-of-thought reasoning is 7 to 35% less likely to expose bias. Part 5. Business. Starting our business segment, Walden Robotics, a spin-off from the Toyota Research Institute, has raised $300 million in a seed funding round, reaching a valuation of $1.1 billion. Investors include Toyota, Nvidia, Boeing, and CoreWeave. Instead of bipedal humanoids, the company uses a practical wheeled chassis with a humoid upper body, targeting bipedal humanoids. Moving on to infrastructure, General Compute has secured $400 million in debt financing from up to 90 reals. This marks the industry's first major funding to use non-NVIDIA inference chips, specifically the Samba Nova, Scene 50, and Jomda 3. And to wrap up this section, Databricks is planning a new strategic funding round that could push its valuation to $188 billion. The company's annualized revenue has reached $6.9 billion, up 80% year-over-year. AI products like the Unity AI Gateway and Genie contributed $1.7 billion of that total. The new capital will accelerate multi-model governance and data retrieval. Part 6. Community. First up in community news, the release of Kimi K3 has ignited a fierce debate over open source versus closed source AI. Supporters point to K3 topping the Fente code arena as proof that the gap with top Western closed source models has shrunk to mere days. However, skeptics argue its top Western closed source models has shrunk to mere days. Had over skeptics args its high pricing of $3 to $15 ends the cheap open source years. Moving on to user frustrations, Anthropic is facing backlash on Reddit over Claude's random usage reset mechanism. Users complain that unpredictable reset times lead to wasted quotas, calling it the straw that broke the camel's back. Many high-profile comments reveal users are canceling their $200 monthly subscriptions. Instead, they are switching to OpenAI and Codex platforms for more stable experiences. Finally, for our community segment, recent surveys from A16Z and Venture Beat have sparked concern over AI return on investment. Data shows 71% of deployed agents are merely wrapped, single-turn dialogues, not true multi-step quickbooks, lacking clear tasks and evaluation systems. 80% of AI budgets are wasted in uselessness. AI budgets are wasted in useless evaluation and gateways. Part 7. More. First, in other tech updates. A severe glitch in the Amazon Web Services billing system has shocked users on Hacker News. Personal test accounts that usually cost under $5 a month were hit with massive bills ranging from $1.7 billion to $3 billion. Next, the major security breach. Music generation platform. Suno was breached by hackers using the Shy Hulud worm virus, exposing part of its source code and training Tensei. The leaked data reveals Suno trained on over 100,000 hours of YouTube music, 62,000 hours of licensed Pond 5 audio, and 12,000 hours of Deezer music. The leak has rated in 12,000 hours of Deezer music. The leak has rated. Finally, a breakthrough in archaeology. Scientists have successfully used shortwave infrared, 3D scanning, and AI image enhancement to read carbonized Herculaneum scrolls without touching them. The newly deciphered text contains over 1,000 words detailing the history of Plato's Academy. Crucially, it pinpoints the exact location of Plato's tomb in a private garden near the Academy Shrine of Muses. That's all. 30 stories for today. Full written coverage is linked in the description. See you tomorrow.